everyone, and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've made a video, so do bear with me because I am going to be a little rusty. It took me about 15 minutes to figure out how to use my microphone. Of course I'm joking, but I am back to holding the microphone like this because I haven't yet invested in a better one. Separate video. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, why I took a break from YouTube, and then I thought we'd touch on a few things about my car because I just ticked over the 35,000 mile mark. Yes, this car is now worthless. Let's talk about YouTube. So I decided to take a break for a couple of reasons, and I don't want any of these reasons to sound like excuses, although some of them probably are. It's a bit of a complicated one. I don't want to get too downy, too in the detail about it, but I hit a rut, a creative rut, firstly. So I began to struggle for ideas, and I kind of thought, oh man, I've made so many videos about my car, what else can I do from here on? And I've never had the motivation to make videos about other people's cars. As much as I enjoy meeting other people, I don't know, I wouldn't profess to be an expert enough to be able to comfortably talk about other people's cars. So every time that opportunity has arisen, I've never really had the motivation to actually see it through, if I'm just being honest. And when you combine that with me absolutely milking my car, I just thought, oh, man, what do I do? So initially, I began to struggle, and I just thought, okay, well, if I don't have any ideas, I don't have any motivation to film, I don't want to begin producing content that isn't great. And I was definitely on the verge of doing that, so I decided to just stop filming for a little while. And it initially started out as just a few weeks, just, you know, give it a break, leave the camera at home, just enjoy life a little more. And it then just spiraled into something else, which is, I am a dad, which a lot of you know, and this is going to sound strange to some of you who aren't parents yet, but when I'm not working, I want to spend as much time with my child as I possibly can, and that's pretty much what ended up happening. I go to work, come home, spend time with her, and do the same at the weekend. So over the weekend, I'd want to take her here and there and, you know, all over the place, and you just don't find the time to film. It's funny because when you stop, it becomes less of a priority. And I think YouTube definitely became something to me that I took the fun out of, and that was the whole reason I started my channel, was to have fun and enjoy the editing process, etc. And you know, I've said this a few times before, but what you see is what you get with me. This is not a character. I am this person. If some of you have met me, you all know I am just this person. I'm this flat in real life too, and you know, life is sometimes tricky, and with being a dad and also a few other health issues, I needed to just focus on the things that make me money, i.e. running my business and work, and spending time with my family. Now, I went for a rough patch personally, and I'm not going to get into that in detail in this video just because I don't feel like this is the right platform to talk about certain things, unless you're going to talk about them very openly, and I'm just not ready to do that. And I've come out the other side of it, and I've realized that filming and making YouTube videos and engaging with you guys is something that I actually enjoy and should just see as fun instead of something that I need to, I don't know, I don't even know why I was stressing out, to be honest. Like, when I look back, there was definitely an element of wanting to keep up, I suppose, and fit in and, you know, feel cool, but equally I never did it. I was never driven by those reasons. I never wanted to be well known or, you know, anything like that. So I don't know. But anyway, the point is I'm back and I want to make videos again, and I want to have some fun with this. And just, you know, just produce good content. You know, that's the goal, is to produce more content, good content, invest a little in the channel, i.e. new mic, and see where it takes us. So that's my excuse for not making YouTube videos for a while. I'm sure some of you will be glad that I'm back, and I'm sure some of you will be equally as glad that I'm back. Wait, what? No, some of you will not be thrilled that I'm back. I did say I was rusty, but there you go. So I thought a good way to kind of relaunch my channel would be to talk about the car. As I said, 35,000 miles now. It's actually 36.5. I'm rounding down. The car is almost worthless at this point, unless I wanted to make a huge loss. So I recently inquired with a dealer who specializes in Nissan GTRs, separate video, and they essentially told me they couldn't really put a value on my car because of the mileage. The mileage is so high that there are no other cars of as old as mine that have as high mileage. There's no real market for them, and arguably if they were to try and turn a profit on the car, somebody could just go and buy a much lower mileage car instead. So I'm stuck with this now for a little longer, but that's not a bad thing, and we're going to talk about why. So let me reel off a couple of the downsides. 35,000 miles in and a year and a half of ownership. Let's talk about some of the negatives. Now, you may recall earlier in my channel's years, I made quite a few videos about the brake squeal. You'll be glad to know that has resolved. There is no more brake squeal. I use different pads now. I use EBC yellow stuff pads. They did the job. No more brake squeal. Lovely. However, a few newer issues presented themselves, namely the tyres. Now, I'm quite active on the Audi Sport forum. It is my go-to when I just want to reassure myself that I'm 50% right. And it seems a lot of people are having the same issue that I have had with this car and the tyres. So much so that Audi did recommend or suggest that we raise a case with Pirelli, and some of us did. So Pirelli did some investigations. They ran numerous tests on the tyres, and they essentially came back and said to us that the chassis of the car is incorrectly set up for these tyres, which is interesting because they are Audi fitment tyres. We took this information back to Audi and nothing happened. So, which is really unlike Audi. But anyway, to give you some context of the tyre issue, which I say is an issue, it's not really an issue anymore because I've had to accept it. I've gone through 9 tyres in a year and a half. Admittedly, 2 of those were rear tyres, but the other 7 were front tyres. One of them was lost to some bad luck. The sidewall blew out, hit a pothole. It happens. The other 6 all happened because the tyres wear on the inside only. Now, I know some of you are typing right this second, or even screaming at your monitor about the alignment of the wheels. It's been done 4 times. Doesn't make a difference. The tyres just wear on the inside. No one can figure out why, apart from Pirelli with the chassis suggestion, but no one can, in terms of Audi and various tyre shops I've been to, no one can seem to figure out why the tyres would do that. But what's happening is the inside wall of the tyre wears away to the point where the beads show, and then you'll get a hole. When you check the tyres from the outside, they all look fine. It's just very, very deceptive. It's only when you get the car up on a jack and you then discover that one of your tyres is rolling on cord. That's happened to me 4 times for different reasons. So 2 of the tyres blew. They wore down and then blew, and then the other 4 of those tyres were discovered by either Audi when they were checking the brake pads. They discovered both had worn, and then 2 of the others were discovered when the car was just having general maintenance. So one was an oil change, and then most recently it happened again. Just be attacking me. Most recent tyre happened because the gearbox oil was being changed, and they raised it up on a ramp and discovered the same thing. So my recommendation to anybody who is thinking of buying an RS3 is do bear that in mind. The tyres, do bear in mind. It's just you got to move past it. On black circles, you're looking at about 220 quid. Sometimes they drop to 210, but I've not seen them any cheaper. So Pirelli, if you happen to be watching this video and you think, let's support a small YouTuber with his tyres, reach out. I'm definitely all ears. So in terms of servicing, the car, nothing that you wouldn't expect from the general maintenance of a car. This has had 3 oil changes. One was as part of a service, and the other 2 were because I just like to have the oil changed every 10,000 miles. And then, like I said, you have the gearbox oil, which was recently changed as well. There is an Apache helicopter flying so low that I think I'm about to be killed. And I don't have my phone to show you, but I'm going to try and swing you around. Oh, that was interesting. Yeah, so nothing that you wouldn't expect from the general maintenance of a car. Like I said, the oil's been changed 3 times. It only needed changing once. The gearbox oil has been changed. I've gone through a set of brake pads. As I mentioned, I went with EBC yellow stuff pads as a replacement. I'd recommend it if you do not want to hear the squeak. I'm pretty sure I'm days away from the discs needing changing as well. So obviously they're going to be a bit more expensive, but I'll keep you posted on when that happens. And then that's it really. You have to keep up the oil, like you have to top the oil up yourself quite frequently, especially in the warmer months. So I've already had to top the oil up once, and there's no leak. I think the cars just run at a really high temperature and go through oil. The other thing to also check in these hotter months is the engine coolant as well, for the same reason. The car just runs very, very warm. But yeah, apart from that, nothing else, touch wood, has gone wrong with the car. I still enjoy driving it. It's just such a great car to drive. Obviously, when you drive a car every day like I do, and you drive it into London specifically like I do, there's going to be things that you learn and begin to dislike about it, i.e. the lag. But the positives always outweigh the negatives in these situations. I did make a 5 things I hate about this car last year, I think, and you're always scratching the surface for things to dislike. I still love it, but I've definitely outgrown it. So I mentioned GTRs. I looked into a Nissan GTR, found one that I really liked. It was a really, really nice spec. It was black. It had, I'm not sure of the actual colour, but it was kind of an orangey brown interior. Sounds awful, but it really worked. And I want something that's just a bit bigger and a 2-door coupe. So it started with the GTR and it's progressed into other things. I'm not going to talk about it too much right now because I've done that quite a lot in my last videos, is talking about other cars I'm going to buy. But in some news, I did buy a second car, but just not for me. There you go. I stayed true to my way. I bought a second car, it just wasn't for me. I'm kidding. We bought a second car, family car. Got another baby on the way. She's due next month, so I'm going to be a dad to 2 girls. It's exciting times. It might not seem it, but it is. And behind these eyes is a lot of fear. But I wanted a bigger family car for my fiance to drive the kids around in. So we went for a Range Rover Sport. It's a used car. It's not new. It's 2017. I think it's a really nice spec. She loves it. I love it. It's all good. And we are fully adjusted to the Range Rover life. We now waft around, feeling like royalty. And every time I get back into my car, I feel like I'm getting into a Mini. But I think we're going to live with the Range for a little while. I'm going to keep this for a little longer, possibly until, January next year, unless my impatience gets the better of me, which is likely. So do watch this space. And I am looking at various replacement options. The goal initially was an R8. I was pretty much set on an R8 next, but I think I want a break from Audi. I've driven Audi cars now for the last 7 years, and despite driving Audis for the last 7 years, I may add that I never get invited to their press days. I mean, I thought that we'd made up. I didn't think I'd badmouth them that bad, to be honest. All of my opinions were very just based on my cars that I own. I've had an A3, an S3 and an RS3, but yet I do not get invited to anything. And there I am thinking of buying an R8 and I still don't get invited to it. It's frustrating. It is. It's frustrating. No, but for real, I think I want a break just to mix it up, because you know, I've been sat behind an Audi steering wheel now for a long time, and you know, I know that an R8 is of course a different league to this. It's a very different car, feels differently, drive, all that. I know all that. You don't need to tell me all of that. But I don't know. Is this an opportunity to do something a bit different? I don't know. I quite like F-Type SVRs, for example. Maybe I could get one of those. I quite like AMG GTRs. Maybe I could get one of those. I did like Nissan GTRs, but now I don't. But, you know, something like that could be on the cards for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What type of car you think I should go into next. And, yeah, I will include some B-roll. If you've made it this far, you've enjoyed the really corny music that everyone puts over their B-roll. And I'm going to wrap up because it's now raining and I don't know what else to say. So until the next video, which will hopefully be this weekend, I'm attending Bicester Heritage on Sunday. If any of you see me there, come over. Try not to be too awkward, because I am very awkward, and two awkward people together is just strange. So say hello if you see me. If you see me and you don't want to say hello, don't. But until the next video, peace.